Today's theme is a very exciting king hunt. This game is played between Michal Krasenkow and one of America's all-time favorite Grandmasters, Hikaru Nakamura. The game was played in 2007 at the Casino de Barcelona tournament in Spain. Krasenkow opens up the game with knight out to f3. Knight f6, Nakamura responds with knight f6. c4, e6, g3, d5, bishop g2, bishop e7, castles. And we have the English opening, the Agincourt defense, castles b3, a5, knight c3, c6, d4, knight b to d7. And already I have to say here that I really like Nakamura's position. This is a type of pawn structure that I go for on a regular basis. Yeah, I get these pawn triangle formations in my two favorite opening systems, the London and the Semi-Slav. Queen c2, b6. Yeah, and these types of pawn triangle formations, often the bishop is stuck inside the pawn structure. Therefore, in order to develop the bishop, he has to play a move like b6. e4, bishop a6, knight d2, c5. Nakamura's position is more cramped, so he goes for several pawn exchanges in order to give his position just a little bit more breathing room. E takes d5, cx d4, knight b5, e takes d5, knight takes d4, and rook to c8. Nakamura has found a way to create two pins on the c-pawn, and is thus exerting a great deal of pressure on Krasenkow's position. Rook to e1. Krasenkow feels the pressure and decides to get out of at least one pin. He moves the rook over to a great file, but away from the defense of the f-pawn. This is the key. Now that the f-pawn is weaker, Nakamura will focus his attack here. b5, great move, attacking the c4 pawn and making room for a queen on b6, where it can greatly attack the f7 pawn weakness. Bishop b2, rook e8. Rook e8 simply defends the bishop, so that way Nakamura can play queen out to b6 on the next move. Queen d1, b takes c4, b takes c4, queen b6 attacking the bishop. Rook to b1 defending the bishop. And here Krasenkow is setting a trap for Nakamura. D takes c4, and surprisingly Nakamura falls into the trap. Knight out to c6, attacking the bishop on e7. Yeah, so black must do something about this bishop. But if he were to move the bishop, then simply bishop takes on f6 and white has won a piece. Yeah, the black queen is now under attack. So Nakamura would have to move his queen somewhere, maybe to c5, and then he's down by a piece. So this position is looking pretty bad for Nakamura. But pretty calmly, he just plays rook takes on c6, gets rid of that knight. And then bishop takes on f6, and here, Krasenkow is probably rejoicing, he's probably thinking, oh my gosh, I got a piece up against Nakamura, he's going to resign soon. Yeah, I mean, the queen is under attack, and when it retreats, Krasenkow will be up by at least a piece. Yeah, simply bishop takes on c6, and black's position is just falling apart. However, Nakamura has seen this, and he had a plan. He actually fell into this trap because he saw a way to win the game. So really, he went into a trap in order to trap his opponent, which is pretty interesting. Can you see what Nakamura played here? Go ahead and study this position, pause the video if you want to, and come up with the winning moves. Alrighty, if you're ready, the winning move is queen takes on f2. This is astounding. What a spectacular move. A huge queen sacrifice. And remember that if black were to not take the queen, Well, white has, well, if white were to not take the queen, black is already up by a piece, and he can simply take here on f6. And yeah, knight e4 does fork the queen and the rook, but at the end of this variation, black, Nakamura, would simply be up by 2 pawns plus the exchange, which is more than enough to win the game. So therefore, this sacrifice must be accepted. So Krasenkow takes the queen. Bishop c5 check, king f3, rook takes f6 check, and the king is just being drawn up the board, and it's going to be checkmate pretty soon. After king g5, we see knight to e5 check, and there are some different variations here. Yeah, if the rook were to take the knight, which did not happen in the game, then we have bishop out to c8 check, rook to f5, bishop takes on f5, and here the king has some different options. What if king to f4? Then we have bishop to d7, discovered check, driving the king back to the g file, check, king h4, rook h6 check, queen out to h5, and then rook takes the queen, checkmate. That's pretty amazing. Alrighty, so instead of the king heading out to f4 here, what about king to h4? Then simply rook to h6 check, king g5, bishop c8, and here white has a couple possibilities, maybe knight to e4, then simply bishop e3 would be an immediate checkmate. So white could try queen to e1, but then we have rook g6 check, king f4, bishop d6 check, and here if king to f3, then rook f6 check, well, checkmate, and if the queen were to move out to e5, then simply bishop takes e5, and black is up a lot of material here. Yeah, he's up by a rook plus several pawns, and the white king could even still be checkmated from there depending on where it moves to. Yeah, so that's pretty fascinating. Alrighty, so instead of rook takes e5, we have knight out, king out to g5 in the actual game. And then rook g6 check, king h5 was played if the king were to move to f4, knight d3 check, king f3, rook check, driving the king once again back to the g file, bishop check, rook g6, and then rook takes on e1, and here white has a couple of options. If queen takes e1, then this would be a checkmate in just a few moves. f6 checkmate. It's pretty awesome. And if the queen does not take the rook but moves out to f3, then we have this other checkmate. Yeah, so after check, queen to h5, bishop check, well, is checkmate. And if the king were to run out to g5, bishop to e7 once again leads to checkmate. So that is pretty awesome. Alrighty, so let's go ahead and back up. Yeah, did we look at all the variations here? Yeah, we looked at queen f3 and we looked at queen takes rook. Alrighty. So here, instead of king out to f4, we have king h5, then f6, preparing for a checkmate. Yeah, there's now a checkmate threat on h6. So therefore, rook takes on e5 to give the king an escape square. In case of h6 check, the king could then run out to g4, but black simply takes the rook, and after king h4, bishop to c8, and Krasenkow resigned. Yeah, the best move given by the computer for white is g4, which leads to a checkmate in just a few moves. And if some other move is played, maybe just queen out to c2, then yeah, rook h6 would be an immediate checkmate. So after bishop to c8, Krasenkow resigned. What an amazing brilliancy by Hikaru Nakamura at the Casino de Barcelona tournament 2007. This is just such an amazing queen sacrifice. I mean, if I had been looking at this game at the time and I had seen bishop takes on f6, I probably would have assumed that black is just completely lost. And I would have been like, what is Nakamura thinking? But then comes queen f2 check, and that's just such an amazing sacrifice. Thank you for watching, and I hope that you enjoyed this game, and subscribe for some more great videos like this one.